Hey guys, I just wanted to come back and do another comic book related video. Last week we talked about the contest that was going on, and the week before that I showed you an update of some comics I just recently purchased. So in continuation with that theme, just to kind of round out the month, I thought I would do some more comic book stuff. Probably the biggest thing to talk about right away is that the contest is still going on, so if you're interested in possibly getting some free comic books, winning a poster or something like that, go back to last week, check out that contest. It'll tell you everything you need to know, and then that video is where you need to make comments, things like that to enter. So just go back to a week ago today and you will see the video. It talks about the Whedonverse contest. Okay, I figured that one of the best things that I could talk about also this week, besides showing you a few cool things, is some of the comic books that I really enjoyed growing up as a child. My first, initiation into the comic book world was a few of these titles. There are a few titles that I no longer own, unfortunately, one of which is Robotech and another one is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The original Mirage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series got a little pricey right there at the end of the 90s, early 2000s. It was kind of being rediscovered by the public, and there was a resurgence of turtle-related things. And I just kind of needed the money, so I let those go. I regret it now, but at the same time, I probably got more money out of it then than I probably could now. I still miss them, you know what I mean? It's a real give and take kind of thing. Robotech, actually, I let that go just because of the bulkness of the series. That was just a really gigantic Comico series. So, no more Robotech. Okay, this is probably one of the ones that I enjoyed the most. And you might have seen a video from roughly, last fall, something like that, maybe 6-8 months ago, where I sent a package to Travis, and he had talked about some of the things I mentioned in my letter about this being one of my favorite series of all time. And it's Matt Wagner's Grendel. This is considered the Grendel second series in a way. This was probably the first full series he had, but at the same time there was another Grendel before this one. This is the Christine Spar Grendel series, ran in the late 80s. Probably one of the best 12-issue series I've ever read, and it really stuck with me because at the age I was at, I really hadn't read anything like this. So that has a lot to do with it too. It's a nostalgic factor for me, but it is a great series. It seems very dated by today's standards in a certain way. It's slightly set in the future, so it kind of balances itself out to be not as bad as it could have been, but still dated. This is the Grendel 1 here. I'll try to hold this up where you can see it. 2, 3. This is 4. This is actually a really funny story. I spent a lot of time looking for this when I was younger. I think it was about 5th, 6th grade. I ended up having to drive a long ways and get my family to take me there to pick this up, and this was really hard to find when I was a kid. Now it's, everywhere, but 5, 6, 7. Right in here is where I jumped in when I was a kid, about 6, and then I had to backtrack and try to catch the first 3, 4, and then that one way later, and then this was what I was catching from month to month here, about 7, and then 8, 9. This is a great issue here. No words, just all action. 10, and this is the one where they mentioned that they were nominated for 2 Kirby Awards. And then 11, and then that is the end of the first major story arc of the Christine Spar series. That comic series, or this comic series I should say, went on for I think it went up to like 40 issues with a lot of little one-shot mini-series kind of in between, a few little offshoots. All in all, this is probably the best of it. There is a lot of stuff out there, and there's a preference for some people to like War Child and a few of the other story arcs, but I really enjoy the Christine Spar the best. From the Christine Spar series, when that was going and I was trying to catch more of them, is where I got spun into this series, which is a little bit older, but it's the same creator, Matt Wagner, and this is Mage. And Mage came out right before this. This is a very old Comico series, as you can tell, because the logo has changed from that traditional checkered border at the top. This Mage series ran for about, I'd say, well, I'll try to make it where you can see it here. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And then 6 used to be a really popular one because I think this is where the original Grendel character was doing a B story in the back. And if you flipped over the cover, you can't see it here because of the board, but if you flipped over the cover, it would say including Grendel, and there would be just like 4 pages or something like that in the back. Yeah, so this is starting with number 6, had the Hunter Rose Grendel story in the back, and then 7, 8, but Mage itself is a really good series, so not to be undone. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then 15. And that's the original ending of Matt Wagner's Mage, The Hero Discovered. Kevin Matchsticks, I think the guy's name. This series here used to be really hard to find. Actually, it's harder to find trade paperback than it is in comics. So if you're really interested, you might be able to pick up a full run of these for like 20, 30 bucks, which is amazing. When I was a kid, this comic alone went for about 75 bucks, number one. Anywhere from 50 to 75 for a good copy. So that's a really good series to read. And when Comico went under, Grendel was picked up by Dark Horse, and Dark Horse still holds a lot of the rights to Grendel and still publishes.
Please hang up and try again.
Sorry about that. It was my phone ringing. This series here, Comico was picked up by, like the ongoing series were picked up by several other comic book companies. Grendel itself was picked up by Dark Horse, and they still publish occasionally. By Image Comics, they did a sequel to this, or Matt Wagner did a sequel that he'd kind of wanted to do for a long time. That series itself is really easy to find too. I haven't really tried to go out and find it recently, but just a few years ago, those comics were selling for like $1 a piece, which is a really great deal because the artwork on those are actually amazing. So if you're interested in Mage, that's a really easy one to find. It's pretty old, in the 25-year-old range, somewhere around there. This is another one that was really popular when I was younger that became more popular later, and I was lucky enough to jump in before it got too popular, and that's the Tick series. And you'll have to excuse the way I've got these bagged and boarded. When I started bagged and boarding these a long time ago, it was really hard to find Silver Age bags, that's the size of this comic. It's the size that they came out in the 60s, and around that time and before, during the Silver Age of comics. But yeah, so this is the Tick, and this is Tick number 1. This is a first print from way back when, and this was before the cartoon series and before the live action series and before everything else. This is the original series, which was done by Ben Edlund. This series is still being printed. You can still get it from New England Comics, so if you're a fan of either the Tick cartoon or the Tick TV series or anything related to that, this is an awesome series. This is the original, and they'll call it the original epic or something like that. They're reissuing these right now in comic form, but yeah, this is a really funny series. This is number 1. This is number 2, and this is probably like a 3rd or 4th print. This is one of the very first ones I got, and Tick number 2 is probably one of the funniest. And there's number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that did go on to like a 12-issue series eventually, but it took a long, long time just to get to number 9, and that's as far as I got when I was as a kid. So I go back and I picked up 10, 11, 12 after that series was over. And another thing I picked up, speaking of Grendel and Mage, is way after the fact I picked up these on eBay, and this is the very first incarnation of Grendel when they appeared in Comico Primer number 2. And then here's the original Grendel that only went 3 issues, and this is 2 and 3. I haven't found one yet, or I haven't found one at a reasonable price, I'll say that. But that's just some of the comics that I really enjoyed when I was a kid, some of the influential stuff that I really liked to read. Now let's get on to some of the other things that I wanted to show, which is some of the comic books I've picked up since then, and then some of the stuff related to the contest. Relating to the contest, I was just going to show that this is the front cover of Entertainment Weekly that I just received today. And they've got Nathan Fillion. And if you'll notice that they've got him listed as Geek God, so everything kind of Whedon related has made these people into just reoccurring stars. Everything they go into, it just becomes kind of a big thing, and they have such a loyal following. Being in Serenity, and then doing Dr. Horrible, and then everything else that he's done is really kind of followed him along, and I enjoy seeing that, that he does get his respect for all the stuff that he did. Now let's talk about some of the comics that were related to some of the comics I showed 2 weeks ago. Some of the ones I was really trying to find that I was able to pick up because of the Hastings sale. I went back and I did check out some of those. This is one that I found online though. This is Chew number 2. So finally I have the beginning of Chew, and I can actually start on that series. So I'm really excited to start on Chew, and that should be any day now. After that, I also picked up the Zatanna number 10 that came out afterwards. And then I picked up this Green Lantern Emerald Warriors number 6. I just picked this up for the cover. Travis mentioned that people shouldn't do that, and that's probably a good idea not to do that, but I'm really bad about it too. Some of these other issues I got here, I haven't started on these yet, but we were talking about Nick Spencer, the author that has been doing quite a bit of stuff just recently. This is the Morning Glory series, and I think it's pretty much everything up to number 8. It's 1 through 8, various printings. I'm trying to get too many glares here, really that bad. This series here, which is getting kind of hard to find, I was able to find pretty much every issue in various printings for next to nothing. I think Hastings is still doing their 2 for $3. Most things are $1.99 back issue wise, and even the things that are marked $1.99 are occasionally ringing up as 99 cents. So that's kind of what happened on these. I changed the bags on these because the bags got really torn up. As you'll notice on the front of this, there's no UPC code. And at Hastings, everything has to have a UPC code, which happens to be on the back of the comic, which is covered by the board. And that's another issue I have with Hastings. The prices are great, but the way that they handle their comics is less than perfect, for sure. It's not, comic book store quality. You don't see people that are collectors, that understand collectors, handling the comics. You just get regular employees that are working at a store. And it's just one job that they do among many, and most of them are not into comics, of course. But this series here, they had to pull every single comic out, and she would just rip the bag apart like it was just a wrapper. And then she would throw the comics back in, just however, after she was able to scan them. So a few of these got a little beat up, but honestly, every one of them except for number 7 and number 8 rang up as 99 cents, and it was buy 2, get a third for free. So 2 for 3, or I should say, 3 for 2. So I'll show these here of the Morning Glories, and I don't even know if these are in order or not, but this issue number 3 here got a little beat up. And it doesn't really show really bad now that I've got them back in the bags, but there are a few little creases and things. That's number 7, number 8. But, it just kind of irks me a little bit. I always try to really take care of my comics because much like the Mage and the Grendel, I figure I want to have them 20 years from now, Alright, let me show some other ones that I got that I've been trying to jump into a few more current series. This is one that I enjoyed, Doom Patrol, and Doom Patrol has been out in several incarnations. I really like the Grant Morrison stuff that came out in the late 80s. But yeah, I decided to jump back into this 09 series just because it was, recent, and it was really pretty easy to find back issues for all these. Most of these were at Hastings. So I looked out here, and like the other ones, I've rebagged a few of these for quality reasons. I took the stickers off some of them, or maybe all of them, I don't even know. But a lot of these were $1.99 or 99 cents. So trying to get rid of a gift card that I had at Hastings for a while, I ate up the rest of it in comics again after last time. But here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Couldn't find 13, so here's 14, 15, 16, and 17. And I realize that there's more than that out there, and I do have a little bit more to show you on that, but a lot of these I just kind of got whatever they had or whatever was cheap. A few of them, the only issues they had were really beat up or weren't in bags and boards already, so they were in rough shape, so I just kind of let them go. The next series I picked up for the same reason as the one before. I'd kind of been interested in getting into a current series. This one I just picked up at an odd point just because of the sale. I wanted to get them cheap while I could. I thought I'd pick them up again later. And this is the Secret Six. And the earliest one I could find was 17 on that. So I'll go back and try to find them again. I found that this particular series, among other series that Hastings had, were really bad out of order. So I want to go, do some more hunting. But this is Secret Six 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. And I love the artwork on these, by the way. 24, 25. Didn't find 26, but 27 and 28. Another really cool series that I've been wanting to read for a while, and most of these we're reading up is 99 cents also, and then, you only have to pay actually $2 to get 3 comics, that kind of deal. So that was the ones I picked up at Hastings. Then this past weekend I happened to be out of town. I had to go visit my girlfriend's family, and where they live there's a whole bunch of other comic book stores I usually don't have access to. That's several, it's about 2 hours away. So we went there, and I just was amazed at what I was able to walk away with. This is really, really cool. I mean, some of these, I didn't really need, but I decided to get them anyway. This is one. This is the Umbrella Academy. If you're a fan of this series, it's really fun. Umbrella Academy did a free issue for Free Comic Book Day, I believe 2007. Most of them are stamped by the comic book store or have a sticker or something. I was able to find a new, fresh copy, unstamped, for 25 cents. This was in their 25-cent bin, and I was amazed. I still don't have this one bagged or boarded yet, but I've got extra bags and boards here. But yeah, I do have extra bags and boards. This is a couple of the other comics I got. Not that great of a deal, but some cool ones I was really looking for. They're kind of hard to find. This is the Doom Patrol number 18. And that was like $3, unfortunately. And this is Secret Six number 29. And both of these are on that clean white background that is so popular, that just came out about a month ago. Everybody's trying to collect all of them because they just look so cool with the logos. So yeah, I was able to find those two, the 29 Secret Six and the Doom Patrol 18. So the two comics in series that I was showing from Hastings, neither one of them were available at Hastings, unfortunately. Now this is probably the last thing I'll show comic book related, so I'm going to hold off on this one for just a second, show this real quick. I'll cover up the price tag real quick. If you're familiar with the Blackest Night series, this is series 2 of these figures, and this is Crib from the Sinestro Corps. This is actually a really popular figure just because of maybe people are into like just really weird looking figures, or maybe they just really like the Blackest Night series, or maybe they like Crib. I'm not for sure. But this figure's been really popular for a while, and because it was series 2, it sold out really fast. I haven't actually seen this in a store, and it's been quite a while back when this was released, right? Early 2010, long time ago. Either way, they're on like series 8 now. So I was really surprised to see this in a comic book store. And then I saw that it was originally $14.99, which is amazing to get something like this $14.99, and they marked it down to $8. I was blown away. This like currently is going for about $70 on Amazon and eBay, things like that. So to get this for $8, it just blew me away. And it's just a great sculpt. I hope, you know, the glares aren't too bad, but maybe you can see that. Just a really, really cool figure. But yeah, so $8 on that. That was a great, great deal. And then the very last thing I'll show, and this is one of those things where I have to kind of preface this story with a mini story about Travis, Planet Bear Wagon. He and I both read comics, of course. You would know that by watching this channel. But we occasionally give each other different comics that we can't find, like the names and the issue number. And then that way we can check each other's comic book stores for things that they wouldn't necessarily have access to. So when he's where he's at, I occasionally say, you know, check to see if they have this, you know. And he gave me a list of things too. And I hadn't had really any luck finding any of those things. They were some pretty tough series. So I kind of knew in a way that most of those had been picked over. And unfortunately, most of the comic book stores I'd been to recently didn't even have a section for that particular comic. It was like something that they didn't even carry. So he's been looking for, one of the comics he's been looking for is for Alf number 48. And I, unbelievably, was able to find this for $2. This is such a hard to find comic, it's unbelievable. This is one that had kind of a so-so, the cover itself looks a little strange. And I think this is one of those ones that most people knew right away that it was kind of inappropriate, but somehow it got issued first, and then they realized it was inappropriate. But either way, it says, caution, do not buy if safety seal is missing. And then it has him looking quite questionably what he's doing to this seal. But yeah, I was able to find this Alf number 48 for $2. So Travis, next time I've got something going your way or whatever, this is going to be yours. I got you a really good investment. I can't believe how cheap this was. And didn't even have to pay shipping. That was one of the things too, as most times if you can find it even slightly cheap, you got to pay more than $2 just to have it shipped to you, to find one somewhere in America. But yeah, so there you go, Travis. That's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing just some random comicness. I think probably next week we'll only do the drawing. That's about it. But if you guys really enjoyed this comic book theme, maybe we'll do it again here in like 2 or 3 months. Or maybe if I have a vlog Monday, or if I have an activity Monday like I did today. If you're interested in seeing that again, maybe here in a couple of months we'll do another month where I just do some random comics. So other than that, that's probably it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.